Rahubat. My name's Saken, answering 3 questions. Remember that you can send us 3 questions to osmvision.wetransfer.com and we will get those answered for you. So let's look at the questions we have for today.
Yo, what's up? Rahubat.
Rahubat.
So I got my 3 questions. The first question is, what is the Muwapic teaching on, or the history that you guys have on rare earth metals? So talk about like gold, silver, or cobalt, iron ore, and even gems like diamonds, rubies, emeralds. What's the significance or importance of these rare metals and gems, gemstones, as it pertains to extraterrestrials, or even like the beings here on Earth that have been here, or why are they so important? That would be my first question.
Okay, so the first question is relating to the different gemstones and why they're important. First of all, you have to remember that things in nature have properties, and when we're dealing with what people now call precious metals, they have many vibrations and frequencies that can be used in a positive way. If I may, I mean, it kind of ties into a lot of things, so it's very broad. One of the things that comes to mind is the Crystal City, which is a craft, because the brother's asking how does it relate to extraterrestrials, and some of the crafts are made with these metals, and one of those crafts is spoken about, known as the Crystal City, which you can find in the book of Revelations. I think it's Revelations 21. So read the whole of Revelations 21 that goes into the Crystal City. And the Crystal City is also called the Golden City because of the way it looks with the crystals, amber lights, with jasper. In fact, it's got many stones. Let me just see if I can pull that up. Yeah, so you have, like, when you look at the Crystal City, it's got a lot of lights, amber lights, red lights, green lights, etc. And that's because all of these crystals are a part of it, and it's used for bending light and for the force field that it has and so forth. But so you have like jasper, which is red lights, and this also relates to the crystals when you see people wearing crystals and the reasons for them. So you've got the jasper, which is the red lights. You have onyx, which is the black lights. You have like sardius, which is the reddish brown lights. You have chalcedony, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is the white lights. You have crystallite, beryl, sapphire. You have amethyst, topaz, emerald, which is the green. So topaz will be like the purple lights. Sapphire will be like the blue lights, as well as the beryl, where you get like beryllium. You have the chrysoprase, which will be the apple green lights. And of course you have jacinth as well, which is that reddish orange lights. And most crystals have many properties for healing, for restoring the vibration of your body, the frequency, because they emit certain frequencies, and frequencies with sound or without sound can be used for many, many things. Healing is one of those things, and with frequencies you can recalibrate, because it's all based on the vibration, the resonance that something has. So if you would imagine that, I think water is a good example to use. So if the perfect healthy state of water is at its optimum pH level, then if, say, you contain water and you are sick or you have bad water in you, so let's say it's more alkaline, then it's going to be maintaining your health. But if it was acidic, then your health is going to deteriorate. So it will be a matter of using the right energy to raise that vibration or bring that water back to its optimum performance, you see. So that's relating to why crystals are used in many, many ways. I'm trying to think of a reference to a book or something where you might be able to get more information. But if you read The Man from Planet Risk, Science of Healing, Shambhala and Agatha, perhaps, these are scrolls that talk a bit more about the crystals and why extraterrestrials use them. And going back to the natural nature, obviously the planet has many things which they were made to become scarce in terms of when you're dealing with commerce. So the more rare something is, the more valuable it's perceived on this planet. But if you lived in a place where you didn't realize that gold had a monetary value, so this was happening in Africa, where people would just see gold lying around, but they didn't really, they just took it for granted or didn't really look at it as if it was anything of worth. It was when, it was monetized, and then, people started to go to Africa and take it. It's the same with diamonds as well. When Sierra Leone and, people like in Africa, basically, most of these precious metals were just lying around, and they are still abundant in Africa till today. And if you remember the story about Nibiru and the Anunnaki, they were actually in search of this precious metal known as gold, because they know that gold can be made very thin, and it can stretch for miles. It can be as thin as paper, and they needed that to be able to, and it can bend. And they were able to find it so they can use it to protect their ozone layer. So that's how the gold was being extracted and taken away from the planet, which then made it very scarce, and that's how it became valuable. So yeah, so these precious stones, although they may not be really recognized and worth much other than to help you with, natural healing and things like that, if it's made into a commodity or something that is perceived to be of value, then people will then buy it. And another, a good series to watch, as was recommended to us by the master teacher, is a series called Adam Ruins Everything. I say that because there's a particular episode where he talks about diamonds and how, in terms of putting them on wedding rings and things like that, as a form of showing love and affection and value. So I hope that's giving you some help. But yeah, extraterrestrials use them in many, many different ways. So when crafts are found, they try to work out and reverse engineer why they have these precious metals or stones in their crafts. All right. Right. Let's have a look about the second question.
My second question is the word jewels that would pertain to some of these rare earth metals or gemstones, jewelry that people will wear, like maybe this necklace, maybe this watch. And how did that word come about? I'm particularly interested in the root word and the I guess the suffix, as listening to some of the messages that you guys have posted before about EL, that word L, and it being a being. So I'm just interested to hear the breakdown on that if there is one, but jewel or jewelry. And so I'm just curious. And my third question would be,
Okay, so the second question is in relation to the word jewel or jewelry. And yes, I understand what the brother's saying in regards to when we say L at the end of the words, but we're referring particularly to the biblical context of the names of those extraterrestrials, like Adonijah and words ending with L like Raphael. You can't take something out of one context and apply it to, say, every word that ends with L, as in jewel or jewellery. But in terms of finding out root words and the meanings of words in general, etymology, you can actually there's a website, etymology online, in terms of etymology, like you say, studies the origins of words, how they came about. And like you say, there may be a root word and then other words added to that root word. So the root word will be kind of the building block of how the word was how the word evolved. And if you went to search the word jewellery or jewel, it will be separate from, if you, like you said, the suffix in terms of, or the prefix in terms of Jew. With the word Jew, again, that's been taken out of context because the J's didn't exist in the word Jew in the Hebrew. So instead of Jew, it would be, or the J would be a Y. And then they would tell you that that comes from the word, or they say Yehuda, tying into the tribe of Judah, to say that someone who is of that persuasion would be tied to the tribe of Judah. But it's not true, in the sense that when you study the people, they wouldn't be related to Judah, they'll be related to Jebus, from the Jebusites. So it's, again, misinformation. But so the word, that's where that word would come from Jebusites. And yeah, it's misinformation to tie it to Yehuda or Yehudi, as they say, but Yehuda would be the Y replacing the J. And this is where the word like Jehovah also gets mistranslated, because it would be Yahuwah, because of the J's and the V's are English translations of the J, of the Y, and the W. So the V would be a W in the language. All right. So as far as jewellery goes and its origin, you can just go into the etymology dictionary, and it traces back to Latin word jokel, which is Jocale, meaning a plaything or a toy. I mean, you can kind of see by reading and studying and researching the word, you could see like it goes back to Old French Joël. So the name Joël will tie into that. And yeah, it's dealing with ornaments, and the modern English would be jewellery, and American English jewellery, but doesn't necessarily relate to the word Jew, as I was saying before. Yeah, so it all depends on what root you're looking at and where you're tracing the root word to. Okay. So yeah, let me go to the last question.
what is the Nuwapic stance on wearing things like necklaces? I've seen you guys have some nice necklaces and different like accessories or whatever. But just interested to know, you know, how you guys feel about that, both like men and women. the importance of it, if there is any, or is it just something for aesthetics, just because of the appearance, or does it have some sort of status tied to it, or nobility, or rank in some kind of way? Just trying to learn more about the stance on, or the culture. So that would be my third question. Thank you.
Tawat. I mean, it's all of it. The gold, particularly if you go back to the stories of Anunnaki and Enlil and Enki when they were mining gold, Enki got obsessed with the gold, and he was the one that started to adorn himself with the gold, which was supposed to be transported to Nibiru for the usage of protecting the ozone layer. However, he started wearing it as a sign and a symbol of power, authority, and obviously, as you can see, if it was that important or valuable to them for the the repair of the ozone layer, and Anu and Nibiru, they were making sure that people were working hard to mine this gold, and that's why it became very scarce, as I mentioned previously. So by something being scarce, it literally means not everyone can get hold of it or have it. So those who do will automatically be deemed as, being a cut above the rest. But yeah, in terms of why we don't, and you notice as well that a lot of like the music industry and rich people and people that are perceived to be wealthy wear a lot of gold, and that kind of stems back to the genetics of Enki, as well as just wanting to be more important. But gold is royal, and it's a symbol of royalty. As you see, we wear a lot of gold and black, but not to be extreme with it. For adornments and there are crystals and other things that we wear as well, as I mentioned previously, where they will help you with recalibrating your energy field, healing you, maintaining a particular vibration. So it all depends. There are different reasons, and all of the ones you mentioned are applicable. So we wear it, but we don't overdo anything. We keep everything balanced. We don't go to either of the extremes in what we do in Wu-Sabat. And female also adorn themselves. Anything that will make you feel and look your best, that is healthy and not harmful for you, as long as we don't do it to the extremes, we're cool with that in Wu-Sabat. All right. I hope that answers your question. Until the next time, please send us your 3 questions to osmvision.wetransfer.com. Wadu, until the next time.